Hey everybody, my name is Henry Stewart, and I will be doing my research project. And what I did my research project is on the effects of CO2 on coral reefs. So first, I'm going to give you guys a little background of why coral reefs are important and what they do for us and the planet as a whole. Um, they are filled with biodiversity, which many of us know is important for the environment to keep biodiversity. It allows everything to live healthy. They also provide 25% of the ocean's fish depend on healthy coral reefs. That is up to a quarter of all the fish that live in our oceans. And then 7,000 species of marine life reside in coral reefs. So that is also a very important fact because of how many fish live in the ocean. And they also provide protection from storms and erosion, such as hurricanes and just large tropical storms. They provide a little barrier for the land. And they also provide jobs for the locals that live in communities with coral reefs, and over 500 million people rely for daily food, which means fishermen catch the fish from the coral reefs, and people depend on that to survive and stay healthy. So, sources of CO2 emissions, they come from humans' everyday lives. Us driving cars, that is a huge emission source. Also, when we go on plane rides, that also is a major emission source. And then, of course, large corporations contribute to 70% of all greenhouse gases. Everything that's made has to be burnt in some way, and we use fossil fuels to do that. And then deforestation releases CO2 in the atmosphere. That's a much more common thing we see today with all these new buildings and things being built. Land has to be cut down, which releases the CO2 in the atmosphere. And then the release of CO2 eventually devolves into the ocean, which is how we see it in the coral reefs and see the effects of what it does to the coral reefs. So next we're going to talk about a little bit about ocean acidification on marine life. This is basically the process of the ocean water becoming toxic with the CO2 being absorbed through it. And 45% of CO2 emissions are absorbed by the ocean. It obviously makes the ocean become more acidic, which weakens the skeletons for coral to be able to grow and develop. So essentially they are not able to live like they used to before CO2 emissions became such a big problem. It also eats away at minerals that shellfish use to create shells, which ultimately kills the shellfish. And shellfish are also a major food supply for not only humans but also larger fish that depend on it to feed on. And it also, like I said, it disrupts the food chain, causing less biodiversity in the ocean. Like I said earlier, biodiversity is essential for a healthy ecosystem. So why does it matter for us? Human health can become dangerous from microscopic organisms changes that are found in the seafood we consume. So essentially, when the ocean becomes acidic, it is also absorbed through the food. These microscopic organisms eat, which ultimately, like I said in the slide before, it goes up through the food chain and eventually into us. So that is why it is dangerous for humans. Coral reefs also supply jobs and are major for the economy in coastal areas. Fishermen, tourist attractions, that kind of thing. It's a major job source for a lot of these people that live in the communities with coral reefs. And then coral reefs also have been able to bring medical advancements through some compounds in the organisms in the coral reefs. I think this is amazing, and it's amazing that humans have been able to discover this. And then coral reefs are a food supply for 25% of developing countries. Like I said before, they supply a lot of people with a lot of food, and we have to take care of the coral reefs that are still thriving right now. So what can we do? We can limit our personal CO2 emissions. We can, like I said, we can carpool. We can even turning off the lights when you leave, saving electricity, not taking as many flights throughout the year, maybe even biking to work or school can limit personal CO2 emissions. And then educating others on how disruptive it will be if we lose coral reefs. Getting the word out. I think we should honestly teach elementary school kids about all these troubles, even if at that time they may not understand it all, but it'll be a little seed in their brain where they can maybe want to tell others about it and really be invested in saving what we have now. We can also donate to organizations that are striving to help protect coral reefs. These organizations strictly help the coral reefs by either going in and taking out stuff that does not need to be there or cleaning the coral reefs. And then also eat only sustainable seafood from sustainable fisheries. Eating fish that are not sustainable will ultimately kill out that species if we keep doing it. And so eating fish from sustainable seafood altogether can help the coral reefs as a whole. And then reduce the waste that can possibly end up in the ocean. Obviously, the waste that we put out can find its way in the ocean and disrupt the lives of the marine life in the coral reefs and even disrupt the coral reef as a whole. So, in conclusion, reefs are taking a dramatic hit because of humans. They're destroying the biodiversity and marine life that reside within the coral reefs, and it is essential to get the word out and educate others on this issue. And like I said, I think we should start at the elementary age just to put it in their brain and see what they can do throughout their life. And also limit personal CO2 emissions and donate to proper organizations that are doing their part to help directly at this source. And here are my citations, and thank you.